Your audio needs to be better. You got noise in the background, your vocals sound muddy. Your favorite podcasts and YouTube videos sound way more professional, but you don't know why. This is the video that's gonna reveal the secrets you need to know to clean up your vocal audio for podcasts, YouTube videos, content, and whatever else. I'm a sound engineer, music producer, and artist, so I know a thing or two about audio. But before we tiptoe through the sewers, holding our clothes above our heads, I've got a question for you. That question is, what are the 2 audio effects you cannot live without if you want clean, professional vocals? Comment with your answer down below. If you don't know, don't worry, I'll be revealing the answer later on in the video, so stay tuned. Let's get into it. I'm going to be using Adobe Audition for this, but you can use pretty much any DAW or audio editing software that you have that has the ability to use plugins and VSTs. I'll leave a link to all the plugins and VSTs that I use, as well as the link to getting Adobe Audition down in the description down below, so go and check that out. First thing you want to do is open the audio that you want to work on in Adobe Audition or whatever DAW you're working on. So I'm gonna go over here to open a file, and we are just going to get one of the audios from one of my videos. So what I want to do, I want to open something that hasn't already been edited, of course. Nice. This doesn't look like it's already been edited. Let's see if we can hear some noise. The Spins 808 and the Zay 808. We could go into the origin of where these 808s came from and all that sort of. Okay, great. So now we got the audio in. The next thing to do is to listen to our audio and see the Spins 808 noise we have in the background. Now I don't think this is having too much noise because I can't hear it, but if we flung let's bring up the effects rack. If I fling a compressor on this, you're gonna hear a lot of the noise in the background. So let's do that real quick so I can show you an example of what you're actually gonna be dealing with when you actually compress your vocals and bring it up, or turn your vocals up. You're gonna realize that there's a lot of background noise and whatnot. So here we are with our compressor. Now I use, well, we'll get into the presets that I use in a little bit. If I was to, you know, raise this, you hear that? That's the noise. Noise is there. So let's bring this back down to 0, and we'll turn off the compressor for now, and we'll walk through the vocal chain that you need to be using to get professional, clean sounding vocals. The first thing I add is Isotope RX7 voice denoise. Now, this will get rid of that noise in the background. So let's just leave that on. And then if we bring that output right back up, let's see if the noise is gone. Use 2 808s in my beats. Remember how noisy it was before? It's like it's gone. Look, it's like it doesn't exist anymore. This is turning it off. Then you can actually hear the fan in the background. So first we got RX7 voice denoise. I suggest you use the preset I'm using is light auto denoising for dialogue. Then you can edit this, but I don't believe I actually edited this at all. These are my settings, use that. Next, we'll add RX7 breath control to get rid of the breaths. Now with this, you gotta be careful. Use the reduce to equal gain preset instead of the silence breaths preset. The reason why I do this is because it makes it a little bit more transparent. It doesn't completely get rid of the breaths. Usually I'd want to get rid of the breaths completely, but when you do that, you run into the risk of losing the beginning and the end of certain words. When you have this a little bit more transparent, you don't really run into that risk as much. Let's listen back. The reason why, so you can hear that breath. I don't even think it counts as a breath, to be fair. So let's bring that down a little bit. The reason why, so as you can see, the more you bring this down, the more it's going to get rid of the breaths. Basically, find the area where you've got yourself taking a breath and listen back, and then mess with the target level. As you can hear, it's gone down. The reason why is because there are 2. So we don't want to get rid of it completely. But we want to get rid of it a little bit. The reason we don't want to get rid of it completely, I explained before. This is the safest option to get rid of breaths, but not also put yourself in danger of getting rid of audio you actually want. Listen through a few different parts and adjust the settings if needed. So don't worry, because I'll be revealing the answer later in the video. Just stay tuned. Let's get into it. So I think the breath is all right. Like, it's not too bad. Remember, all the links to these plugins will be in the description down below. Please use those links if you're going to grab any of these plugins, because it helps out the channel, and all it is one click to use. Step number 4, add RX vocal declicker. You're gonna see a lot of RX today because it is actually a great plugin and it's perfect. Like RX7 is perfect for getting rid of bad parts in your audio and basically cleaning it up and making it sound broadcast ready. So this is RX7 mouth declick. This is good for getting rid of lip smacks and other annoying noises you make with your mouth, but don't overdo it. It's super easy to cut off the beginning and ends of certain words if you push this too far. So use it gently and scrub through your audio to see how it sounds in multiple places. Let me show you. So let's play this back, and we're having it on output clicks only. What this does is it only outputs the stuff that it's going to take out after. So we want to hear exactly what it's going to be taken out. We don't want to hear anything that sounds like it's actually part of a word. Now, it taking out stuff in here sounds like it's going to take out stuff that are part of words.
Let's get into it. By the way, this video was suggested by Reed Focus, so shout out to you, bro. If you want to get a shout out in my next
The preset I'm going to use is transparent removal. Basically, it's going to get rid of the clicks, but not go too hard, which is exactly what we want.
Let's get into it. By the way, this video was suggested by Reed Focus.
So it sounds a little bit more realistic and it lessens our chance of accidentally getting rid of the beginning and end of words.
So shout out to you.
This is going to be another click here. So let's see what that
Your
sounds
suggestion on what you want me to make next.
Okay, that click is completely gone. Now let's get rid of it and see if the next is cut off.
To make next.
No, so I don't have a T in that word. So no worries. So I'm just going to leave this like that. We're not going to do anything else to that. That's good enough. We're going to quickly check here.
The reason why is because there are two main...
Okay, fair enough. Step number 5, add isotope EQ. So let's go to VST, effect, isotope, and we're gonna go to ozone 9 equalizer. Any EQ will work for this, but isotope has great presets with all their plugins. This gives us a perfect starting point. I use the lead vocal preset. The main thing you wanna do is do a high pass to at least 50 hertz. As you can see, I've gone to 152. I like to give myself a bit of a bass cut because I've got quite a boomy, bassy voice. And you might think, oh, that's great. I want to keep that bass in. I want my voice to sound boomy, deep, and strong. And I get that, but you're doing it wrong if that's what you're doing. So the main thing you want to do is a high pass to 152. A high pass is when you get rid of the low frequencies, but allow the high frequencies to pass through. So this is that, a high pass. Now, why are you doing it wrong if you don't cut out the bass? Because these frequencies are making your vocals sound unprofessional and muddy. It doesn't sound good, and your voice deepness will come through regardless. Trust me, I'm a bit of a sound engineer myself. Next, you need to do an EQ sweep around 300 to 600 hertz. Here's how to do it. So first of all, let me show you the difference. Okay, let's actually, do I want to edit this? Because it's gonna beat me up. Let's just bypass this for a second and let's listen to a part so you can hear what it sounds like before and after.
Let's get into it. By the way, this video was suggested by...
And now let's have the EQ on.
Let's get into it. By the way, this video was suggested by Reed Focus.
It just sounds a little bit cleaner. It just sounds a little bit crisper, right? That's taking off that low end and getting rid of the muffliness. So let's actually do an EQ sweep, okay? You'll do this from like 300 to 600 to find the bad frequencies that are sounding boxy and sounding muddy. So let's play our audio.
By the way, this video was suggested by Reed Focus, so shout out to you, bro. If you want to get a shout out in my next video, then leave a comment down below with a video suggestion on what you want me to make next.
And what we're doing here is we're raising the gain of this band, making it quite narrow or widening it out depending on how much, what we need to do and where we're trying to find our stuff, so that we can find where the bad frequencies are. And then as soon as we find that, we're just gonna dip it, okay? So, wow, okay. I didn't realize I could go that high. But if I go that high, then I won't actually be able to see it. Can I? Okay, that didn't do what I wanted it to do. All right. So let's listen back again.
Let's get into it. By the way, this video was suggested by Reed Focus.
This is where I'm hearing that boxiness. If you're not listening in headphones, listen to this in headphones. This is a sound engineering tutorial. You need to be wearing headphones to get the most out of this.
So shout out to you, bro. If you want to get a shout out in my next video, then leave a comment down below with a video suggestion on what you want me to make next. You'll get a video that answers your question, and you'll get a shout out in the video. Win-win for you.
So really, I'm hearing a lot of boxiness around the 400 hertz.
Get into it. By the way, this video was suggested by Reed Focus, so shout out to you, bro.
And now I'm just going to assume it's around 433. And we're going to widen this up a little bit and just do a minor cut there. Let's actually bring it a little bit there. So 1.5. Not too much, not too drastic, but it will make a difference.
Into it. By the way, this video was suggested by Reed.
Next, we have another bell at like 940, so around 1,000 to 3,000. You want to get rid of frequencies because around this range, you'll have like some annoying frequencies that just won't sound good. So we'll do another EQ sweep here.
By the way, this video was suggested by Reed Focus, so shout out to you, bro. If you want to get a shout out in my next video, then leave a comment down below with a video suggestion on what you want me to make next.
So we got some minor boxiness around here, but not that much. Like, we don't really have to worry about it, to be fair. So we're just going to take out another 1.5 and that should make...
Let's get into it. By the way, this video was suggested by Reed Focus.
We could also get rid of all of these.
Let's get into it. By the way, this video was suggested by Reed Focus, so shout out to you, bro. If you want to get a shout out in my next video, then leave...
You hear that boxiness?
Leave a comment down below with a video suggestion on...
See, it was harder to hear because we got rid of, you know, I think it's the vocal denoiser that's causing such a tone shift.
Get into it. By the way, this video was...
So maybe let's go in here and have a little less reduction.
You'll get a video that answers your question, and you'll get a shout out in the video. Win-win for you.
Okay, I think that sounds better. So with the vocal denoise, I went to gentle, so it wasn't affecting my vocal tone so much. And then the main thing with the EQ is you got to use your ears. So I would turn off all these other plugins and then use the EQ, and then you can turn them back on, just so you make sure you're getting the right boosts and cuts. And of course, this boost at the end was just added by the preset, so I'll just leave that there. It just adds a little bit more clarity to the high end. After the EQ, we want to add dynamics, so Ozone 9 dynamics to compress our vocals and get rid of any wild dynamics. Like, as you heard over here, it's like it's got super loud and kind of spiked. We don't want that. We don't want any peaks like that. We want everything to have the same dynamics across the board, so be around the same volume level. Again, any compressor will work here, but I prefer isotope plugins because they come with great presets and they sound great. They also give me a lot of speed when it comes to engineering my vocals because of those presets. Now, I use the vocal brightness preset. First thing you need to do is set your threshold a little bit lower than where the vocal hits.
Get into it. By the way, this video was suggested by Reed Focus, so shout out to you, bro. If you want to get a shout out in my next video, then...
So here's where I could set it, but I've given it a little bit more.
Then leave a comment down below with a video suggestion on what you want me to make next. You'll get a video that answers your question, and you'll get a shout out in the video.
So let's go back
to
that.
Answers your question, and you'll get a shout out in the video.
You see how that's tamed those dynamics. Now, we could also change this ratio to 2 to 1 and see what that does.
Video that answers your question, and you'll get a shout out in
that gives us too much dynamics. So we're going to keep it on 551 actually.
Video that answers your question, and you'll get a shout out in the...
Yeah, that's way better. I set my limiter at -3 to prevent clipping. I usually don't touch the other bands unless I really need to, if I'm having like specific issues, but mostly I'll just deal with this mid to high band. If I need to go into the bass band because something's just not hitting the way I need it to, then I'll go in there. But it's just the same process in there, basically, you know, finding the right threshold and messing around with stuff. If you're finding that your compressor isn't hitting fast enough and you're not getting enough compression, then you'll need to lower the attack in order to do that. But I've got a whole video on vocal compression. You can go watch that for more in-depth details on that. Listen to your vocals where there are loud peaks and see if it sounds good.
So why mess up a good thing? What are these two?
So that's a big peak. This looks like a big peak as well.
And the Z808 has a short tail sound,
and that sounds like it's all coming back in the right dynamics. We don't really need to do much there.
Now you know what these 808s sound like. Which 808s should you...
So once you listen through to a few different audio samples and check that it sounds good, you're pretty much done. If it all sounds good, pat yourself on the back. You are now a novice sound engineer. Congratulations. And your vocals are gonna sound better than 90% of the content out there. Something you may have to do is actually apply these effects to the file. So what you need to do is click this apply button Sometimes if you don't do this, it won't actually save the effects to the file. So make sure you're doing that, and this will just basically stamp the effects to the file, so you can't go back after this and you can't really edit the effects. So keep that in mind. Make sure you get it right before you hit this apply button. Now it's time to answer the question that I asked you earlier. That question was, what are the 2 effects you can't live without if you want clean professional vocals? The answer is EQ and compression. EQ gets rid of all the bad frequencies and all the muddiness and has your vocals sounding cleaner, clearer, more crisp. Compression squashes your dynamics and makes your vocals have near enough the same volume across the entirety of your audio file. Make sure you don't have parts that are too high or too low. These 2 effects are the bare minimum you need to mix your vocals effectively and have good quality sounding vocals. If you got any questions or any videos you want me to make, please let me know in the comment section down below. Check out that video. Remember, there are links to everything I mentioned in the description. I'll see you next time in the next video. Peace out.